Before I get into how China's rebuilding the entire financial system, I want to explain the bird's eye view of why the world is even looking at an alternative in the first place. And it really comes down to the idea of trust. The trust that countries used to have in dollars. For example, around 70% of all the global reserves were once stored in US dollars. In other words, countries held their wealth in US treasuries, bonds, right? Because they were considered to be the safest assets on earth. But then that started to change sometime in 2022 because that's when the United States froze about $300 billion worth of Russia's foreign reserves. Now, regardless of how you feel about that politically, what it showed to the rest of the world was, if your reserves are held in dollars, they're not really yours to begin with. They can be seized, they can be locked, and we can just turn it off with the click of a button. So countries were like, okay, I have a question. If you can do that to a nuclear power like Russia, what happens then if we disagree with you next, right? So that's why this change started to accelerate, because there was this loss of trust for paper assets. Central banks around the world, especially in what are called emerging markets, started to lower their exposure to US assets, and they started selling off their treasuries, and they started buying gold instead. Slowly at first, but then faster and faster. Check this out. This is fascinating.